All right. Today, we are going to open and build the Prusa Core One. As usual with Prusa, I got the assembly kit against my better judgment. It does usually come with free gummy bears, so pretty high expectations here for that. But yeah, I don't know. I always can't help myself. Kind of short on time, but I feel like compelled to know things. So anyway, like to build them myself. This one, I did actually look at the build time. I think it was around 4 hours. So we may do this in a couple parts. We'll see how the day goes. But I've had this for a few weeks, kind of sitting on the shelf. Wanted to give it a try. I've had most of the Prusas that have come out, kind of back to the OG ones. I've restored a couple of the originals that I still use, and I've always really enjoyed having them. They're slower than the bamboos I usually run, but I like the precision, and just really having the filament direct drive has allowed for me to print a lot of other cool materials over time. So, where you get a lot more friction in the tube type setup. I have an MK4 that I built as a kit, and I also have a Prusa XL that I built as a kit. Didn't have as good experience with the Prusa XL. I would say the thing I love about it is the build volume is huge. Can print pretty much anything you want in there. But as far as like everything else, I feel like they went outside of what they were good at, and kind of what the reason I still have bamboo and Prusas, or still have Prusas on the shelves really, is because they do things, they serve different purposes and do things better. And I feel like when they went over to the XL, a little more tried to kind of fall or walk in bamboo shoes, and I don't know that it was polished as much as, of course, bamboo has it, and I had a lot of kind of issues with it at first. Just kind of getting everything lined up, and then being such a big build volume, not having an enclosure was kind of, kind of tricky. Printing bigger pieces, right? So what was nice about that too is I think having, they came out with an enclosure kit that went on after the fact. And the bad part about that was you had to take a bunch of things off that you just put on. It cost money, and you had to wait for it, which I don't know how I felt about that. I think I spent a lot of money on that Prusa XL, and I use it often. Still kind of working through the quirks, but I feel like it's a little more like kind of my first printers were, my old Creality printers, where there's kind of more manual steps and like sweet talking to take place to get it going. So I tend to find myself straying away from using it. But anyway, be that as it may, we're back to this Prusa One, Core One. I really want to see, because it's definitely a different kind of build. So I'm hoping they got a little bit back to what they had. So anyway, all the normal goodies, the gummy bears that we expect. I'm almost excited as a small bag. Getting the big bag, I got this monster bag when I did the Prusa XL, and as exciting as that was, it kind of, they give you a proper gummy bear to, time build ratio. So looks like receipts. Not gonna get too much in the unboxing here, but just grab all the stuff and get it out of the way. Trying to sell some more stuff. You have received an upgraded model, so that's good. Prusa tends to roll things out, in my experience, pretty quickly, and then like quickly release an update. So assuming that's a build plate, maybe, plexiglass set, okay. Not all this is gonna be on screen. I'm gonna kind of move some of it around just to, whatever. Get it spread out here where we can utilize some workspace and not be so cramped on the table. But I have built several Prusas, so I'm at least familiar with their style of things. So hopefully that'll go a little quicker for us. Prusa's always done a really good job about labeling their parts, which I really like. And if there's extra screws, they mark them as extra so that you don't panic and like, why is there extra parts, or this kind of thing. So I'd really like that they call that out in some of our projects. I've started to try to adopt that a little bit. Just because, I don't know, I always like to have a few extra parts. You know, even if it's quality hardware, you're still gonna screw up once in a while and strip something or, you know, what have you. So I like the ability to have an extra screw or two. You know, everybody's got a few loose screws. Gotta wrestle this guy out of the box here. Cool. There we go. A lot better. So we got some new stuff in the studio today. Some new top-down camera, which you see, top-down, woohoo! And then also, I got some new lighting kind of scenario here. Most of the time, I try to shoot at night because I'm still learning. So, but today it's actually during the day. So I think we got the lighting pretty good. I'm sure Javi will yell at me if I don't. Let's see what else. Also, shout out to Fausto because he's a cool dude. And thanks for watching. All right, so let's see, metal parts 1 of 3. This, and at some point here, I do need to pull up the. Give me 1 sec. Get the instructions kind of pulled up off screen here. Probably do the old digital instructions off the QR code. Let's see. Stand by. Oops. I usually like to kind of rock the iPad when I build with this, so. Unpacking, let's do assembly. Yeah, Prusa's always had really good instructions. Always really liked them. Tools. They're good about providing tools too. Let's see, printed parts. Electronics and fasteners. It's got to be a tool. It's got to be tools, right? Tools. What's that one say? Motor kit. Metal parts. Probably one of the boxes I put on the floor. Metal parts. Where did we put it? So we'll keep checking it out here. Trying to just get through this opening instructions here. They got the, trying to teach you how to, electronics and fasteners. That's where the toolkit is. They got a lot of things kind of trying to walk you through how to use the, how to use the computer basically, which we don't need. We're a little smarter than that. All right, we got a little sample filament. Well, that's enough to do anything, but cool anyway, I suppose. Holy moly. Let's see. Fasteners. What's this? Old zip ties. I also have bright orange zip ties. I got some Prusa orange ones at some point that I thought were pretty cool. Just to be extra fancy. There's our toolkit. And I'm actually trying to get to the part of what we're starting with here. Paper towels. You have to supply your own paper towels, your own scissors. I'm sure I can handle that. Nothing else, a machete, something will work. We got scissors around here somewhere. Paper towel, scissors, we got it. Lubricant. They got a fastener cheat sheet, which is pretty cool, that you can download. Spares. Oh my gosh. It's instructions for using the instructions. Eat the gummy bears. Don't put the gummy bears up your nose. Doesn't really say that, but that's kind of where it is. It says to clean your desk before you start. Man, this guy's like getting into it here. All right, add-ons and upgrades. All right, let's go. Next. Okay. Metal parts package 1 of 3. Look at me. went right for the biggest box. Got lucky. All right, bottom panel. Let's see. Does not look like that. When I can't find that later, it'll be over there. Right where I left it. Another panel, not the one, not the droids we're looking for here. Let's see. I wonder why I always end up with so much trash and cardboard. It's from doing all these projects. Okay. All right. I believe we've located the bottom panel. This does look pretty good here. Has looks like a little grounding contact on it. So should be the one we're after. Okay. And zip ties. Got the zip ties out here already. I knew those were coming. All right, let's see. We got that. All right. Now that we're off and running, I'm going to relocate this box. That way it's a little more, less crazy. Cause more chaos, if you can imagine that. A little bit more chaos. Let's see. Go back here. All right. Guess we need our scissors that are not included. That or we could, do the traditional teeth rip, but we'll behave today. Got to be on our best behavior, it's only the second stream, so can't be doing that with our teeth, right? Oh my gosh. I just saw the chat. Cool. Gotta remember that's out there too. Get to bumping my lips and forgot about it. Forgot all about it. So yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully this this printer will kind of be like more of a throwback to their roots, I guess. I have most of their stuff. They have some big Delta kind of, printers and some other resin stuff. I haven't really got too involved with some of their bigger stuff, but aside from the Prusa XL, I guess if you want to count that. I really like these just for kind of nuts and bolts and some of the finer details. Let's see. Okay, I should have 6 of these guys. A little confused. Oh, I see. Hold on. Oop, user error. You saw nothing. We'll leave that. Maybe that goes there later. So half the trick to this is talking to yourself and then also trying to focus and not eat all the gummy bears at once. But, I have been known to eat a lot of gummy bears. I actually don't like sugar very much, but gummy stuff is pretty phenomenal. If I'm going to eat sugar and get a total sugar rush, it's usually going to be off something like gummy bears or something like that. So, let's see. Just getting these zip ties kind of pre-staged here. That's step 1. Yeah, Prusa's got a bunch of cool products overall, and I like their brand and definitely how they, like I said, I sound like a broken record here, but label their parts is huge because building these kits, you get pretty invested in over time. Okay. How's my lighting, Javi? Good enough? Good enough? If it's good, I can look cool. If not, I guess I can blame you, right? Take the credit or don't. Or take the credit or... Still learning all my lighting. This, like I said, today it was sunny, so I usually kind of try to wait till it gets dark because I feel comfortable with the lighting I have already, but anyway. I think I've got it set pretty good today. Got lucky. Ugh. I'm getting to breathing heavy already, and I just started. These zip ties are like crazy. There we go. Trying not to be super picky, but let's see. I was trying to make it look exactly like the instructions. It's like maybe there's a reason, or maybe it has no reason at all which way they go, but it's like the one time you don't do it right, it's like going to be in the way of something, or there was a reason for it. I didn't buy this one right out of the gate because I did on the MK4, and then they come out with the S right away, right? And then I did the Prusa XL, as I mentioned too, and just kind of right away there was a new release, so you're like, dang it, do I upgrade? Do I pay the money? Or do I maybe not always be like an early adopter, right? Because I'm known for being an early adopter. I'm like, I got to try it out, but you never know. All right, let's see. Holy moly, what happened there? I think we're okay. Are we okay? Yeah, we're okay. Felt like it jumped like 10 steps. Okay. Man, we're getting on the motors already. It's getting fancy. Getting fancy fast. Okay. So we got this motor kit. It's pretty cool. Motor kit. Let's see. More trash. Yeah, not too bad. So those are pretty cool. Packed in there pretty nice. So let's see. They're usually pretty good about labeling them. They have these little orange tags on them that say, ZX, whatever access it is. Some by design are pretty obvious. Got the little short guys here. Ooh, that's a little guy. It's kind of cute, right? Just trying to see what this even is. It's itty bitty. And some of these guys to help lock things down. We'll put those there for later. And our two Z-axis motors. I think this is desiccant. Yeah. Don't eat that. It's not gummy bears. Okay. I feel like, let me look around real quick here. That was box 6. It's kind of weird. It doesn't have a box number on it. Most of these have box numbers on it, but that one doesn't, so I'm not sure. What's your question about the Prusa XL? Just trying to make sure I understand what you were asking there. I'll admit I don't know. I haven't really spent a ton of time digging into this one as far as its capabilities. I just know that I needed to build it. Seemed like, you know, something we had to do. In 1 sec, I gotta hunt down some screws. This could be in one of 3 packages. Let's see. 1 of 3. So yeah, here's what I like. Try to kind of show you, but the really nicely labeled all their packages, and then anything that's, you know, extra, it says it's extra, which is cool. Okay, just trying to get everything prepared here. Prusa, you know, has printed parts too, which is extra cool for the makerspace. I think this is what we want here. Okay. So we got 3 of these little 3D printed. Supposed to be 3 of them, unless I grabbed the wrong ones. Those look right. So we need 3 of these 3D printed parts that help mount our motors. Good thing that wasn't a snake, it would have bit me. It's right there in front of me. All right, let's see. One sec, guys. I gotta kind of unbox surfing here. Going between all these boxes to acquire all the correct parts. Let's see. How many are in there? 1, 2, 3. Just about there. Then we'll get to building something cool, hopefully. So we got 3 of these little clear. Guess are these are maybe acrylic. I can't really tell if these are printed. They are printed. They're pretty cool. Got little shims. All right, put that back where it goes. And we need 24 M3x8 screws. 24. So I gotta go bag hunting real quick. Start out keeping things organized, and then towards the end, you know, it turns into just like total chaos. See what I did there? Chaos. Controlled chaos maybe, but chaos nonetheless. Okay, M3x8, that'll serve that purpose. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever not had a part that I needed out of a Prusa kit, which is pretty cool. The other thing too is I build a ton of Legos, like an obscene amount of Legos. I don't think I've ever had Lego short me a piece. I mean, shout out to Lego. I've had extra pieces, of course, but I don't know that I've ever been shorted a piece, and I have no idea how they do that. But that's, I mean, pretty wild. Pretty wild. Okay, so we got those guys. What's next? What's next? All right. Sorry, I got to read. Okay, so we're going to kick it off with the Z-axis. Pretend like I know what I'm doing. I'm just regurgitating what I just read, right? So it talks about kind of rotate these, make sure they're not, you know, froze in their range of motion. And then these are washers, these clear pieces. So we're going to throw those on. Literally going to throw them on, right? There we go. Bam. Look at that. Made it look like a pro. Okay. One of those guys. And then... oh, similar volume. I don't know, actually. I'm not really sure. I think the XL's probably got quite a bit bigger volume, but This is a little bit more, I don't know, I feel like they're kind of moving in the right direction, trying to get back to their roots and like kind of, compete with bamboo, right? I mean, that's really where this is headed, I think, but okay. So those go like that. I don't know which, let's see. Z, we're just on the Z axis, I think. Okay, then we're gonna use these black pieces are 3D printed, so we're gonna do the same thing. Throw those guys on there. Should probably get out our handy dandy tools, right? I know we got Bob the Builder watching too. She's got all the tools, Bob the Builder. Bob the Builder. That'll probably get me banned on YouTube. It's copyrighted material. All right. Controlled chaos. Controlled chaos. This is why they tell you to clean your workspace, because, I always try to, when I rip these open, they're printed right on here. Seeing it says include spare, but it tells you how many pieces, M3x8, 29 pieces. I try to just rip the corner. They're kind of cheap little bags, which is totally fine. But if you get too like crazy ripping into it like it's a Christmas present, then you can see there's a lot of bags here. So, it'll eventually, you just have a hot mess. And I know from experience, most things I've learned the hard way. So, if you want to learn it the hard way, feel free. But if you don't want a hot mess, then rip the corner off. You can use your teeth if you want to. Just, make sure you're only eating the gummy bears. Let's see here. Okay. Go there. Go back there. Trying to find the right tool for the right job. Right tool for the right job. Sorry, I had to expand the chat a little bit. I couldn't quite see all of it. That's funny. I'm thinking you're laughing at Bob the Builder, probably. Probably what you're laughing at. All right. Bob the Builder. Now, see if I'm smart enough to put in a screw. Oh, look at me go. Hopefully there's not too much glare off my head here. Trying to work far enough away from my body that I don't get in the way of the camera, but also don't want to be like totally at arm's length putting these together. The muscle memory is not there to like blindly do it. Okay. So I'm just securing these 3D printed parts and they call it a washer, but that clear washer, and then 4 M3 screws to each of the Z-axis motors. Kind of tighten them in a star pattern here if I can. I do have better Allen wrenches I could go grab, but they're like 3 feet away, so. That seems like a long ways away. But maybe by the end of this we'll break down. I've noticed Prusa sometimes can have some, although metric, still some funky kind of maybe non-traditional sizes of things, at least historically, of Allen, at least Allen wrenches. I'm sure it's like anything else, when they're ordering these parts in bulk, like what's going to be the most steady supply of parts and what costs the most and what's quality. And I've gotten to some weird sizes, some standard ones in here too, but every once in a while. I always save these tools like in a baggie. Usually I'll take one of the smallest boxes and just kind of put all the tools in it because, that we have it in the future. If you do have something happen, like when I first got the Prusa XL, one of the guys in the chat that should remain nameless, you know who you are, printed, I don't know what we printed or what we were even trying to print, but it was a hot mess of black filament, and it was like, I don't know, probably the first or second print we did. Something big. We tried to kick it off overnight because it was a big build volume. And man, it like I had to take the whole nozzle, like the whole extruder back apart. And having those tools handy again, like for the weird sizes and stuff, can be nice. Sometimes it's a length thing or like a diameter of the tool, because you know you have to like go through some holes to get to it or something like that. So sometimes it's maybe the size is, well, not standard and like imperial, but like, you know, a normal metric size, but the tool is kind of designed specifically for a certain length or something. So I always keep them, try to mark them. I have some little clear containers I use to keep like kind of my bamboo stuff, my, you know, X-Tool stuff, my whatever, Prusa stuff together. All right. I think we mastered putting in eight screws, so that was good. Okay. Let's see. The longest cable, ZR. We're going to say that's ZR. Now look, our little workspace, we made a big mess of there. Well, bring these tools back here. So now we got to do some flipping around here. It says keep a clean workspace. Well, yeah, I don't know who they think they're talking to, but they're out of their mind. All right. So we're going to use this one here, which I know it's like black on black on black, but we're going to use this hole to do this longest Z-axis motor. So let's see. Ooh, cool. It's going to like come off the edge of the desk here a little bit. Yeah, you can see good enough. Good enough. And tell you what, we'll even do this. We'll do that view. Give a little bit more action in there. So, okay. I see. So then this is going to secure to the bottom plate with some screws, of course, but into that black 3D printed part that was on there. So that's kind of our little spacer, I suppose. And okay, I got that. Got it. Tell me what size of screws to use. It's gonna have me standing here all day. Okay, here we go. Tighten the M3 by 8 screws again. Okay. So if we play our cards right here, let's see. How cool are we? We're gonna work, let's see, smarter, not harder, or the other way around. I think I'm still missing, let's see, this is ZR1, right? Or, yeah, ZR. Let me make sure. Okay. So I'm just trying to make sure I have the cord orientation right to where how it pokes out of this thing. I know this one in the back is the tall one. Thank you. I'm glad thank you for the feedback because, you know, the other day it wasn't. So I was trying to add some cameras midstream and there was like terrible audio and yeah, our pets' heads were falling off. It was like a whole thing. So, but we made it through and we're back up to bat here, so it'll work out. Okay, the motor cable must point out. Do they all point out forward or just that one? Okay, and then those ones run the length. Got it. Okay, sorry, I'm back. We're back. Let's see if we can do this and drop stuff all over. Okay, so that one goes there. Let's try to get the orientation of the cables correct. So that goes there, and we are missing one motor. So one of our boxes wasn't labeled, and it might just be my confusion. I'm not even blaming them. But there is an extra motor hiding here somewhere I need to find real quick. Let's see. Feels like boxes on boxes of parts. Okay. Man, come on. Let's see, where did I put that guy? It's kind of interesting. What I'm looking for can only fit in a couple, oh, I found it. So it can only fit in a couple boxes due to its length, so don't worry. I know everybody was worried, but we got it figured out. So I got this third one here for the Z-axis. Make sure it's free. Here's where we're getting fancy. Everybody's holding their breath like, it's gonna fall. It's kind of like, you know, Jenga or whatever. Oops, holy cow. Who's running this operation? It's not even the right spot. There we go. Nothing. That never happened. Okay, there we go. Now, I think we're actually pretty close. But you know what I didn't do on this one was add need to add this spacer and this guy. I was just testing you guys, making sure you're paying attention. You know. All right. Boom. Holy cow, is that the right tool? That's not the right tool. So we have our 3 Z-axis stepper motors. The one with the longest cable is the one that is the single one here in the, well, back to me anyway. The one closest to me. And then the other sides have forward. And okay. Just like putting on a wheel on a car, right? Kind of just snug it up in a star pattern. I've always had pretty good luck with Prusa's printed parts. I think, you know, I don't know, I think they've had a mixture of different materials over the years. I think mostly like, you know, PTG and ABS, but I think they've experimented a little bit with different things. Okay, there we go. What is this, 3rd time's a charm, right? Should have prepped those all at once like you told me to. But I didn't realize one was in another box at first. All right. Look at that. Now, let's see if I can wake this guy back up. So I'm going to install these 3 motors into the bottom plate. Okay. So yeah, so I got the mic. Our last stream had the mic. Well, the mic was okay until I turned on another camera and had multiple audio sources. And then it got really echoey and bad. And I also had a little bit of, maybe more than a little bit, but I had some kind of choppy internet. So I think all that's been resolved, which is exciting. Now we can get on here and make bad decisions and build some cool stuff. Let's see. One of my hopes with this channel, aside from building cool stuff, is to have like requests. So like, there's things we can do, like ideas people have or things they need to solve. to like be able to build some things kind of as a community online would be fun. So like, I don't know, like let's say one random thing we've done is like, dishwasher parts, or we had a big Gravedigger Power Wheels that the gear is stripped. Like some of that stuff is available out there and some of it's not. So I think trying to find cool stuff like that to do would be awesome. But kind of have to have a need to do some of that. So hopefully we'll get some participation in that regard. Let's see. Trying to get these screws started here, proving to be a little bit tricky. Part of it is because, you have the, we're threading into printed parts. There's no heat nut. We're just trying to get it square the first time and not run it in crooked or, do something I'll regret later. Want it to go in correctly. And then you also have this thread right in your way. So trying to like start it square is a little bit of a kind of a fun task, So I think what I'm gonna do is get all 4 started and go from there. The nice part though is honestly, probably why they 3D printed these pieces, aside from all the other reasons that they're Prusa and that's kind of their brand, right, to incorporate some 3D printed stuff. But these parts, if you were to strip them, at least you could reprint them, or if you got a little too froggy. So that part's cool. I've actually I have one of the very first Prusa like original printers that I got off of like Facebook Marketplace or something, and it had like a million hours on it. Honestly, like probably over a year in hours of printing, like consecutive kind of printing. And so I restored it. It was cool. I don't know. I just thought it was really sweet. And so kind of restored it, added a couple of custom pastel colors to it, and I'll bring it out sometime, but maybe at the end of this. But yeah, it prints good. Got it all running, rebuilt a bunch of things. Try to kind of keep it like true to like the OG Prusa, but also like tastefully upgraded it, And but I don't know. It's kind of fun building those. But I've never really had, aside from like doing that, the parts were like I kind of wanted just to update them or like change the colors a little bit. Subtle. I'm kind of like subtle customization. So I did that, and other than that, I've never really had to reprint much for Prusa parts, even the ones that are available. Not for myself, at least. There is a guy named Colden that built one of the MK3s that hangs out with me sometimes, and he took the printer. It was his first printer I gave him as a kit, and he took it to college and like flew it on the plane, right? And the rest you can connect the dots, but basically I think it got bounced around the plane and not handled super nice, and so it broke some of the pieces, and I was able to at least reprint those parts for him out of Prusa material. And kind of funny though about that is when you only have one printer, it's kind of a catch-22, right? Because you can't like you can't print parts without a printer, and you can't build the printer without the parts. So it's hard when your first one goes down. Yep. Hold on, lost my instructions. Yes, Coca-Cola dispenser. And there's an Aaron Clover in the chat. That's cool. Slowly but surely building this Prusa printer. Ugh. I might have to actually go get my better Allens. So I'm trying to kind of be careful with these so I don't strip them because they're the printed parts. But on the same note, like gonna be here for, turn a 4-hour job into a 20-hour job. Yes, we do need a Coca-Cola machine. Why would I need more than one printer? I mean, so aside from like just uptime, because you know one of them is always going to have a temper tantrum and break, it's just being able to print quicker. Because you start doing a big, big build. I mean, I think you can already appreciate being able to, print all the parts at once. Gets you done a lot quicker. Or if you want to do something for cash, or make several prototypes. Believe it or not, a lot of them have their own kind of. A lot of these printers have their own kind of personalities. There's certain ones that, as silly as it sounds, I mean, you could go through and like calibrate or like probably, find solutions to why something's better or worse at one thing. But I have some that just kind of shine at like TPU or like some of the PLA carbon fiber and stuff, and they just print better. I have less print failures, so I just stock it in that one. I just, naturally start only printing in that one. But it's not always a bed leveling or flow calibration or, clean bed issue. It's just, I don't know. Some of them like to work a little bit differently than others, but yeah, I don't know. Mostly just to print stuff quicker. And a lot of it is, I don't know, I just like to try new things. It's only 2 printers, no more than 3. Well, yeah, we have a lot more than that around here. That's for sure. I have, this will be, let's see, I gave one to Coleman, 3, I think this is my 5th. This will, I think, will be my 5th Prusa that I actually have now. It's the only other brand I've kept other than Bamboo, more or less, at least for filament printers. But I always had to kind of justify their existence, and then they kind of did over time, because the Bamboos you can slow down, but you kind of like them to shine by being fast, and they're obviously high quality, but if you need something that just keeps failing on a Bamboo printer, whether it's, I mean, the Prusas are nice. I love doing threads, or like for one of our drone test stands, I know we have this build plate, or not a build plate, kind of just a plate for the drone to sit on. And we were doing some little sample ones, and I remember we could just not get like a Bamboo to do it, even slowing it down. It just was kind of a challenge. And so without like really building a bunch of custom profiles, I can just kind of set it and forget it in a Prusa. Something like that, where you're kind of just focused on like detail and whatever. They have some really, Prusa has some other really wild stuff that gets pretty expensive. Some enterprise level stuff. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but like they're like the Delta printers, where it's basically, 3 cables, like in a triangle. And those are pretty wild. I'd like to build one of those. It's kind of on my list. I have a bunch of project files. I mean, ultimately, I like, I have more Bamboos, so I guess, that speaks for itself. I am a supporter of Prusa, and I want to see them continue to innovate, just keep iterating things. But yeah, and I think they have a niche in the market that Bamboo doesn't, so I hope they just kind of stay with what they have. But Bamboo's faster. I do like, Prusa has quality filaments also. I like the Bamboo filaments I fell in love with first, and they had, at least to my knowledge, a bigger variety, and maybe some more innovative products first, or at least at scale, They both ship pretty quick, so I'm not really opposed to any of that, but I do have recently, not that you want to look behind me in this chaos, but the filament library is pretty much all Bamboo filament. I do occasionally swallow my pride and buy other things, out of force usually if bamboo runs out. But the printers are just, it's their own ecosystem, so it works best, I find, with that. It's not to say you can't get Creality. We did this the last few weeks. Got Creality PTG off Amazon for, bamboo spools, and they also have adapters, of course, for the spools. But anyway, took a little more, messing around, but we got it to work just perfect in a bamboo printer. So it's not that you can't if you want to make your own profile, but most of it's bamboo. I have some real specialty stuff up there up top, and there is some Prusa filaments. I only have, I don't know, like seven spools of it down there. But usually I kind of stock their orange and black colors, which I think is Pet G. Just for, when the kid breaks stuff, Colden, or somebody like that, or the occasion that I would need it. But is the stool 3D printed? No, it's not 3D printed. It's still not. I still don't have the casters tight. I need to. I had to order some. I have mostly metric tools, so I had to order some a couple of wrenches to kind of do it the right way to finish tightening how I need to tighten in the spots. So I have other ways I could have done it, but it wasn't really. I wasn't trying to screw that thing up out of the box. So they should be here today, and then I can tighten the casters on the stool and then put it on the floor, so it's not just chilling like that. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, we're making progress, I guess. Oop, man down. Yeah, it's a stool 3D printed. You're a funny guy. I don't really like to sit, but occasionally, my body doesn't care what I want to do anymore and wants me to sit down, so. Plus, I had my floor painted here, and I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see what the stool does to the painted floor. Wasn't really prepped totally right, so it likes to flake off pretty easy, but we're not gonna worry too much about that. This is the stool 3D printed. Funny guy. Now I try to 3D print everything you can. I mean, more or less. Mostly because it's customizable, I guess. But we could 3D print a stool. I mean, the only thing is we need a bigger printer to print it. Just saying. That is the build I want to do on here as a giant 3D printer. I have all the parts, actually, all the parts. Literally, I don't know that I would have to order anything to build it that I can think of. Maybe kind of the heating pads for the bed. But as far as like wiring, motors, extruded aluminum profiles, I mean, I have all the boards, all the control boards for the stepper motors. I think I even have the big extruders. So, yeah. I wouldn't need really anything. We could build a giant printer on the stream, which would be cool. Have to plan that out a little bit and maybe do it in a few parts, but we could totally build one of those. I want to build one big enough to print a stool, or furniture. If anybody's noticed my sweet scar on my arm yet, it's not really a scar, but I was playing basketball and my kids and with the backboard lowered, and yeah, caught my arm on the backboard, so got a pretty nasty scratch. It's still healing. Kind of funny. It was a long enough ugly enough scratch, you know, going out in public and stuff. Catch people like kind of like side-eyeing you, like they're trying to look, like without looking. Like, it's all right. It's not a big deal. You can stare at it. It won't bite you. Well, it might. We don't know. But I didn't get it from building printers. That's the takeaway. Did not get it from building Prusa printers. We're just about there, guys. We'll move on to something else here. Hopefully. Another slow, tedious step. So I'm just kind of trying to take my time because this is threading into 3D printed parts, so there's no heat nuts or anything on it. Trying to get it snug without stripping it. All right. We're pretty much there. As I say that, there's like 2 more loose ones. All right. Check one more time. Make sure they're all at least snug. Make sure we're happy. Happy as a worm. Happy as a worm. Well, Benchy's interesting, right? Like, just in general. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's definitely better tests out there, right? For sure, than the Benchy, but it is kind of that iconic, like, hello world, right? Where it's your first print. It's kind of like a rite of passage. If it won't print a Benchy, it's not going to print anything else worth of crap. So, I suppose it's a good first test that way. Symbolic, right? Symbolic in that way, but yeah, there's definitely other tests. I have done a large Benchy, and that was one of my first prints, I think, in my Bamboo H2S, which I really like for large volumes. So, yeah. Let's see. Hold on, I'm just trying to get caught back up on the instructions here. We did that part. Okay. Now we got these little other printed parts. Oh, man down. Let me go on a treasure hunt here real quick. Lost a screw. Or, I don't know actually what this is. Kind of a bushing, I think. Let's see. Where'd it go? There it is. The back of my desk has a little cable management tray, so it naturally went and rolled off in the back of there. Okay. So I got these little 3D printed, I guess really like a wire grommet or something like that. I don't know what they call this thing. Let's see, what is this? I guess it's like a plug. Since it's a rod mount. So put those in those holes. Okay. Guess it's to maybe, I don't really know. Guess it's to kind of brace the motor. Trying to work it out here. All right. Let's see. Push it down. Oh, I see. This was actually supposed to be done beforehand. I think before I put that screw in. Let's see. Do. It's kind of weird. I'm trying to sort this out. The couple different tools we got here. I guess it only wanted me to tighten one of the motors, and I did all three of them. But let's see what we can figure out here. Oh, let's see. Yeah, all I can see is it just kind of is a brace piece. I believe is all it is. Yeah, I would love to give something away to the community in the future. That'd be cool. Do some nice projects. What kinds of things you think we could give away? Probably something pretty cool, huh? Be off camera for 1 second here. I gotta see if I can grab a couple of tools, speed up our process here a little bit. But yeah, we could give away, I don't know, some pretty cool stuff. 3D printed stuff. We could give away some tools. Never know. What kind of ideas you got? You like my hairstyle? Yeah. I don't have too many bad hair days, I'll tell you that much. Not too many. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to... Where did that right tool? There it is. I'm going to just loosen these and see if I can do what I need to do real quick. Shouldn't take me too long to correct this, I don't think. Now that the screws are already kind of cut into the 3D printed part, I don't think it'll be as big a deal. All right. Let's see. Little. Oh, I see what's going on. Don't know that it'll work with what I have going on here, but maybe. Oh yeah, no problem. We got it. Not quite how it was intended, but same end result. So you can put those in after the fact. You just got to watch the screw a little bit. And arguably might even be better that way, actually. I know it would be dumb luck if it was, but that way the screws don't tip when you turn it. That way the part you're trying to brace is kind of already aligned and snug to where it's kind of positional and stays put. Because otherwise, if there weren't screws in there, I think it could cock your motor axis a little bit, and that might, you could just have to make sure it's flat when you screw it down, but let's see. I'm sure they know better than I do. But we got it put in correctly, so that's all that matters. We just did it backwards. All right. And we're back. So next step says put the screws in, which we already did. Okay. Be careful in handling the sharp sheet metal. Say that 3 times fast. Sharp sheet metal. All right. M3. Yeah, free goodies to only the first 3 subscribers. I like it. Makes sense. Let's see. It's telling me not to cut myself with sheet metal, which, no promises. Metal parts, 1 of 3 package. Metal parts, 3 of 3. Where is 1 of 3? Not there. Two of 3. Oh my gosh. Which one is this one? 3 of 3, 2 of 3. Oh, let's see. Stand by. Hunting for parts again. I don't remember what the big one is. Got it. All right. So those 2 universal profile, no holes. Okay. So these are the same. And trash and more trash. Okay, so we got a bunch of sheet metal shrouds here. Let's see. Okay. So, these I would say are similar. And let's see, they got to be a little different here. That's that one. That's that one. Mine do not look like the picture. They probably do, but it's probably just me. Let's see. Metal 1 of 3, metal 1 of 3. Spacer pins. Three 4T screws. All right. Gotta find some screws. Let's see. So many screws. So many. All right. For our a lot of these are almost identical how they're labeled. They'll have an extra letter after them or something. Gotta pay close attention. Spacers, electronics, and fasteners. which one is this? I think we're going to be putting on some sheet metal here in a second, if I can find all the required stuff. It's kind of tricky because in the instructions too, they give really good visuals, but you know, proportionately, it's hard to tell sometimes what's what. You're looking for a big part, and it's actually a small part. Famous, huh? World class. I think those are the things we need. Those are the droids we were looking for. I think. Not positive, but I think. Yeah, it's got to be those. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. I think we have most all the parts. Go, go. Okay. Oh boy. Let's see. We're going to go. Mine looks a little different. I'm not sure why that is. If I'm needing to find a different piece or if mine just looks a little different because it's like an upgrade from the instructions, from the originals. I don't have any additional parts that I see. Nope, I lied. Holy cow. There's a whole nother layer. Glad I looked. Don't worry, there's like a whole another stack of parts that we didn't know we had. So there we go. Now we got a good mess going on. All right. So this is the part we need first off. Go here. All right. So this one has little holes in it. Just kind of start with that one. And universal mount. Holy cow. Let's see. It's got what, 3 holes and a flange. See if I can identify these pieces correctly. 3 holes in a flange. 3 holes in a flange. All right. I think we're going to go for it. I think we got it figured out here. Okay. There's all these pieces and they're like, again, I'm not complaining, just stating facts, but there's a lot of pieces and they look very similar. So it takes a minute to fumble around with everything. And believe me, I am fumbling around with it. The instructions are pretty clear. Doesn't want you to the flange goes on the inside, I guess, as it were, or as it is now. Okay. Tiny screws, tiny parts, tiny bits. Come on, get in there. Cool. One down. And I played it cool, but I dropped a screw down there, so I found it. We'll recover it. Next step. I just realized part of my issue is my iPad that I'm doing the instructions on is not on the Wi-Fi. I guess because I'm using it for my camera. can do about that. Sorry, I know my workspace is a hot mess here. It's kind of interesting to work through all this stuff. This is better than the Olympics. My heavy breathing probably is better than the Olympics. Like, the rate I'm dropping screws around here. Although you don't have Snoop Dogg doing commentary, so you are missing out on that. The old Snoop D-O-double-G. You know. Come on. Sorry, I'm trying to get my instructions to load back up, but loading, loading, loading. We might have a sneak peek at our next build. We'll have to go see. I'll have to go check it out. I'm not sure if it's a build or not yet. I'll have to look. So I'm having trouble getting the Prusa instructions to pull back up here. Holy cow, come on. We're flying blind here. Flying blind. It's better than the Olympics. Dual angle setup is nice. Hey Cam, what's up, dude? If I could get my my internet's being funky all of a sudden. Apparently it's working for you guys. I could there it goes. About time. All right, I don't even know where we're at now. Let's see. Purple. Holy cow. There's so many different flanges. Let's see. One flange, two flange. Let's see. This is not the parts, not the droids we're looking for. This one might be, yeah, that one's it. Can you tell my confidence level? I definitely think it's it. All right. Sound super confident, don't I? Let's see. Go there. Watch me fumble through this here. Come on. There we go. All right, I think we're on the right track. I hope. There's, I think, I don't know, 6 or 8 different pieces of this angled trim. And it's, doesn't look super complicated, and it's really not, but it all has like different pre-drilled holes. So trying to avoid getting like halfway through this and then, you know, being like, oh crap, where's my piece? Oh, I put it on the wrong spot. Come on. Let's see, got it. All right. Now, this should have 3. It is not that one. That I know. It's not that one. think that's the one we're after, I think. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this printer compares to both the Bamboo and to the other Prusa printers that I own. Holy cow. Such a small screw, small thread. I know I'm in it, but it's not going anywhere. Yeah, that don't feel good. There we go, finally. Hopefully as we get more structure on this, get it put together, it'll, you know, come together a little easier. What are you guys printing? You guys print anything good today? I'm printing some Gatling parts, which I'm pretty excited about. Not going to drop too many keywords, but some pretty cool stuff that I'm excited for. I ordered a lot of parts. I got a lot of stuff showing up today for this hand crank Gatling. That should be pretty cool. So that's mostly what I'm working on. I got to print some other stuff here in a little bit. Insert front spacer. Okay. Put one spacer in, put two spacers in. This had to be the easiest step so far, right? If we could have screwed it up, we would have, but we didn't, so. Anti-vibration feet. And M3x4 RT screws, which we already have. So anti-vibration feet, I have a bunch of printers going together on a shelf. I don't know, I kind of all calibrate them together so they kind of get used to their neighbor's vibration, but Bamboo does really good in that regard. They did come out, they use 3D printed stuff you can get off the marketplace for the Bamboos at least, and I'm sure Prusa as well. There's also anti-vibration feet that Bamboo themselves sell. I got on a kick and I decided I needed them, I guess. And so I ordered them, put them on all my printers, and at least the X1 carbons. And I really didn't like them. I can't say that it like caused me any grief as far as print quality goes, but they were just like, were shaking all over the place. And I know a lot of the theory with the anti-vibration feet isn't maybe to protect that printer. That printer in itself can compensate for its own vibration, motor noise, all that stuff. But a lot of it's getting into like if you have multiple printers on the shelf, being able to not pass that vibration on to the next printer. But the printer or the shelves I have, they're pretty heavy. They're nothing fancy. I guess they're like steel, powder coated steel, and they're like particle board, press board, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, it seems to do the job, like just having a heavy shelf, honestly. I think it takes, the mass takes a lot of the impact for the vibration. Because otherwise, I don't know, it just looks real wild having these things on the feet, and the feet, like, they were adhesive, and they kind of had a thing they could, recessed area they would go up in, but I really just didn't like them. They didn't like how they looked. Again, it didn't really cause me any functional difference, but I don't know. They were like, sometimes a foot would pop off and it'd like be leaning crooked, and I was like, this just is like, we're going back to the old way. So I pulled everything off and we redid it. In the world of 3D printing, I bought my first printer when I was at my brother's house, actually, which is really funny. Just kind of an impulse thing. I had wanted one, and I don't remember what we started printing, just random stuff. Oh, actually, gun parts. That's what we started printing, for being honest. But so we did that, and then, yeah, I don't know, kind of just went from there, kept printing. Became very quickly cool because you can use it for anything you do. Let's see. Oh. All right, so this way is front. Let's see. I know I would move this thing out of the way, but as soon as I do, it's gonna like have me do something again. I just know it. I can feel it. So it wants me to use isopropyl alcohol wipe to clean off the sheet metal before I apply these 90-degree angle, or self-adhesive anti-vibration feet. So this is going to be the bottom of the sheet metal. So I guess we'll do that. I have a 6-shooter full of this isopropyl alcohol, so we'll use mine because it's cooler. Let me grab a paper towel that was not included. Yeah, I don't know, printing, so I don't even know, probably 3 or 4 years, I would say. Probably 4 years. I don't know, maybe it's been longer than that. Not really sure. But more importantly, I've been going, haven't really stopped printing ever since. Probably got 15 years of printing in a 4-year lifespan as far as experience goes, but so yeah. And of course, bought another printer. Oh, I better try this printer. This one doesn't do this thing well. And they've got them a lot more universal, a lot more user friendly, and just a few, even the last just couple of years, before you had to do a lot more leveling and manual leveling and stuff, obviously. I don't really regret that experience because it helped me understand things better. I'm glad I don't have to auto level things anymore, but it's nice to understand it. Mostly because even when we do CNCs or some of the other tools we have in the studio, we do other things that, like, the leveling is important, and there's not always auto leveling functionality on the different cutting tools we use. We have water jet, CNC, that's like a router. And so just having that understanding, which I actually kind of gained from 3D printing on leveling beds, has helped the learning curve be shorter throughout all that whole process. So, all right, we're going for it. You ever put stickers on a Lego? It's like they're tiny, they're hard to get on, and you always can never get them on straight, right? You're like, no, and of course Legos are expensive, and you're excited, and it's like the last thing you usually do, and then you're like trying to get it all on there just right, and the harder you try, the more crooked you put it on. And then you know better, but you try to peel it off, because you're like, I can't live with this. I have to reposition this sticker on my brand new Lego. And then when you peel it off, it either rips or you distress one of the corners, right? Gets a little stretched out of shape. The color kind of bleeds out. And you're like, oh man. And then you feel really nauseated inside. And then you get it off. You're like, well, I'm committed now. So you get it peeled off. And then you put it back on. It doesn't really stick. And that one corner you always peeled off first doesn't really ever stick again. And it always bothers you. But then you just put your head in the sand and you quit worrying about it. I mean, that's how my experience with Legos. But I don't know. These are much easier to put on, if that helps. the Lego stickers. I saw they've had those like Lego shoes for a while, right? Like slippers, and I think I don't know Crocs, or they're doing a collaboration with one of those guys. You know, doing some like Lego slipper Crocs things, so you don't hurt your feet in the middle of the night and say a bunch of 4-letter words. Wake up, iPad. All right, so that was a super entertaining part. Let's see. The front must be facing you. I think we established, I think I got that figured out. Okay, got it. See, here's our spot. Now we're coming to our spot. Let's see. All right, so this part that's been in my way the whole time, well, in the way. I say it like like I'm offended, right? All right, let's see. This is the front on the bottom. Front that's pointing towards me anyway. Front on the bottom. And then that's the back. So we're gonna snake all these cables down in here. Again, I'm just faking it till I make it here, but we'll get there. Fake it till we make it. We're pretty close there. I don't think I pinched too many wires. I'm trying to be mindful of that, because yeah, that's not always good. Okay, I think we did okay there. So we got the bottom piece kind of placed on the top. So we got our three Z, I wanted to say X3 Z axes. And then, so we got our 3 motors kind of hiding in here. 2 are in the back corner here where my fingers are pointing. And then there's kind of that one lone wolf there in the back center by itself. So I'm gonna make sure I'm not pinching any wires. Not doing anything too crazy right now, but you know. All right, put that down. We figured that part out. Don't pinch the wires. We figured that part out. Make sure those are on the inside. We figured that part out. All right. Back to our little tiny black screws. So these are going to go in the 4 corners. So my first stream the other day I did, aside from screwing up the audio, which, you know, was a noob move on my part, but the other thing was I had music in the background, and pretty aware of, like, you know, the copyright issues and stuff with streaming, but it was real quiet, and I was like, oh, I can get away with it because I thought my my mic would just kind of filter it out. And I got a lot of stuff running here, so, and of course it didn't. So one of the first things it does on the stream, it's like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you have copyrighted music, and they have like AI basically that comes in and it'll filter it out. But, you know, on top of me like screwing up the audio, on top of like the internet not being the best and being kind of laggy, I had AI go back and like kind of destroy the audio on top of it, so it turned out to be rather interesting overall. I mean, these little screws are sure tricky to start, even if you have it totally lined up good. They go in just fine once you get them going, but it feels like near impossible to get them going. There we go. Yahtzee. Bamboo's main strength, just as a general consumer standpoint, is ease of use. It's plug and play. It tells you what to do when it's not happy. has a QR code you can scan. You know, it's like, hey, grease this, do this, yell at this, you know, do whatever. So I think that's a big part of it. Also just, I mean, so ease of use, and then just, I'd say the printing speed, honestly, just plug and play, and it's fast. It takes you know, just really user friendly. I'd say that's its biggest kind of thing. But Prusa, I think being able to, well, do this, you know, you don't just buy it and it shows up and you slap it together, which there's some beauty in that too, don't get me wrong. But I mean, being able to like build it yourself and like learn about it a little bit and do some of those things. I lost the screw somewhere again. I think that's a big strength. They both have really good communities as far as, you know, printed products or what have you. So like if you want to get on there and download some STL files or, you know, whatnot, you're usually pretty good. So printables and what is it, Maker World are both. I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite there. I mean, Bamboo's kind of nice because, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, got a little more robust of an ecosystem, I guess. But I don't really prefer one over the other. I tend to, because of the Bamboo printer, I tend to play in the Bamboo one probably a little bit more. But they're both pretty cool. And I think Bamboo's getting smart because, is this live or slow-mo? I know, right? I think the other thing is like getting Bamboo Maker World is getting a little bit more into like the bill of materials and stuff, which I actually really like on the practical side, because we're quick to like throw up, you know, STL files, or like have people be like, dang, that's cool, or that's a good idea, or I really need that. And then, you know, it's kind of a go fish for the hardware, right? Like there's not always the assembly aspect of it, which can be kind of crazy. So I like that Maker World's getting more into some of that physical hardware stuff, which is kind of a niche I'd like to explore a little bit more on our website. Screws are killer to put in. Go right in, they're just hard to get started. Part of it's I got a bunch of bright lights in my face too, it doesn't really help. The contrast is a little bit hard to see on my side. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to build an ecosystem, like a 3D marketplace basically, but a little bit more of a functional 3D marketplace. You know, do builds and requested functional things. Kind of probably stay away more from the decorative stuff. Just do like, you know, fun, functional stuff. So what I'm doing right now is basically just securing the base to the bottom of the motor bed here, whatever it's called. Some real tiny little screws here. Mostly just kind of pins the corners together. But we're about done here. Slow-mo like, what's that? The sloth at the DMV on that kid's show. What is it? I know it. Zootopia, maybe? Something like that. Yeah. I don't know what there's not a whole lot I can do to speed it up. A lot of it's just, even though everything's labeled, you still gotta kind of go fish for the parts here. There's a lot of stuff. All right, so we got those in. So here's our gummy bears. It's time to reward yourself. So they always like to toss out the old gummy bears. You know? If you don't know, Pursas come with gummy bears, so they ration you. So like each step you get to like, you know, eat so many gummy bears. So that's how they keep you. You have to eat the exact number of gummy bears so you don't, you know, you don't miss out. All right, so that's the base assembly. So that was like, as slow as that went, that was 21 steps. So did pretty good. Congratulations. Okay, yep, got it. Okay, so now it looks like we're on to the power supply, which should be in Delta PSU, an electronics package. This can't be that, since that's way too small. Here we go. They usually use, the brand is a Meanwell power supply. This says it's a Delta power supply, which is, I believe, a different brand. Surprises me because Meanwell is usually kind of the staple for all this stuff. So, I don't know. Hopefully, it's a good power supply. I'm sure it is. Prusa doesn't really seem like they mess around too much, but yeah, I mean, it's black, so it's cool. Most of the time, they have the, you know, brushed aluminum or galvanized or whatever it is. So, guess we're gonna rock this. Let's see. M46. M46R. Okay. Screws. And we need the buddy power cables. Buddy power cables. And a panic cable. Panic cable. Power cable. Sounds good, right? It's reassuring. Don't mind the panic cable. So here we go. We got our panic cable and our buddy cables. All in one nice little package. And I accidentally grabbed something I didn't need. Put that back before something bad happens. Okay. Got it. All right. 102 minutes. Yeah. I know. And we didn't do anything, did we? Not a thing. Let's see. Just starting out this little power supply here. Maybe. We'll see. It's going to have me loosen some of the power supply screws too, which will be interesting. Not quite sure why it wants me to do that, but we won't argue with it, will we? Holy cow, that ain't going to fit in there. Oh, I see. Duh. It's talking about the studs on top. It's like, well, sometimes you got to run some wires in there, but usually you don't. Open these. The terminal, yes. Screw terminal, yes. All right. Should be good enough for what our plan is. Next. All right. Our buddy cables, our power cables. Trash. Panic cable for later. I'm sure we'll use that. And we're going to put in these terminals. They're labeled positive and negative, of course. So do that accordingly. So positive. The positives are alongside each other and the negatives are alongside each other. So you'll have 2 red, 2 black, get them snug. Red. So it's going to go red, red, black, black. Okay, cool. Got it. Red, 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 black, black. All right, and then our panic cable is going to just a 2-pin like JST connector. So that guy's just going to plug right into here. At least that's the plan. Cool. So that guy will just plug right into here. Just pushes in. It's not a screw terminal like the other ones. Okay, we need a buddy box and the metal parts package. Look at that. I found it. Right where it was supposed to be. All right. So now we got this guy. I think, let's see, I think part of our electronics package probably. So we need that. Electronics and fasteners. We need 2 grommets. I think I stumbled across those earlier. This is going to be for our, essentially our electrical. A lot of our electrical is going to go in here. A couple of grommets. Which size do we need? Oh, we need these big diameter ones. Get a couple of grommets. And let's see, thermal pads. Okay. Thermal pads. We like thermal pads. Thermal pads. All right. Let's see. More zip ties and more of the M3x6 screws. All right. Resin printers. I do have resin printers. I have less experience with resin printers by far, but going to be getting into more of it, I'll tell you that much. Going to be doing a lot more of it. Still kind of learning a lot of the basics, mostly just kind of the maintenance side and the how to talk to it. because just like filament printing, it has its own stuff. But plan on hitting it pretty hard, actually. Now that I'm starting to see the added value of the resin, you know, especially for mold making, as you've taught me, or teaching me. So I think once we get to utilize that, and we just got a plastic injection molder, kind of a desktop injection machine. So that'll be pretty cool to actually, I think, show the value of, you know, what we're doing. I think once I start doing that, I'll have a lot more fun with it. Resin, I mean, obviously it's higher resolution. It has some really good thermal properties. No joke about it that it's a pain in the butt to work with, you know, kind of stinks, and has some carbon filters and things like that, but it's still just what it is, right? So let's see, electronics package. Some of these are funny. It's like, it's in the electronics box, but there's ones labeled like electronics and this and electronics and that. All right, let's see. Okay, so we're getting into the some of the fun stuff here. Let's see. So here's our kind of our main board. So this is going to be what helps drive our all of our stepper motors and all that fun stuff. Obviously, they have their own branded board. There's other third-party stuff out there, like I have to build big printers with. You know, you can get your hands on basically generic versions of this stuff and have fun with it. Let's see. Looking for some cables. Let's see what it says. Oh. Of course, every part's in a different box, you know, even though it's all related. It makes sense. I mean, they do it by category. It's not like illogical, but it's just spread out. All right, so we have some power cable stuff. Let's see. We want this cool looking one. We'll throw that right there. We also need our extension board, which I think is this. That is not. That is an LCD screen, which I'm sure we'll need soon enough. It's not the droid I was looking for. Where's our extension board? Man, there's a lot of little PCB boards in here. Extension board, maybe that is it. Let's see. Don't know. Cable. Oh my gosh. It's like, so they have these printed circuit boards, and again, not complaining, but it's like, you know, there's one over here, one over there, and they're in, these three boards are in three different boxes. Why would it not be in the electronics box? It's in the electronics and fasteners box. Okay, so here's our extension board, which is going to be for our fans. These are basically a sensor board, so that's what that's going to be. The reason I know that is because they're all labeled for the most part. It's like fan 1, fan 2, filament, temp, extruder, RGB LED. And this is, of course, the control board where it'll kick off our, you know, Z, X axis, all the different access motors that we would use throughout what we're doing. So, and then just general communications. There's probably some other boards in here that interact with the LCD, but ultimately it'll all have to feed into kind of one. And then in the printed parts, what else do we need here? Multi-tool, in the printed parts, multi-tool, whatever that is. Printed parts box. There's a fair amount of printed, holy cow, thing came out of nowhere. There's a fair amount of printed parts in here. Hey, there's even some Prusa Orange in here. Kind of surprised to see that, almost So it looks like we got mostly black stuff, but there's a little bit of orange color. Okay. A lot of prep work for a couple parts. All right. This is back of which board? Okay. So the back of this one, let's go top down. So we have 3 little sections that are actually traced out for us, which is cool. It's going to show us where to put the thermal pads. So that's going to be pretty easy peasy. You don't have to do a lot of guessing. And there is, looks like, may or may not end up using them, but there's an extra set of pads, which is kind of nice, you know, if you fat finger and drop one on the floor. Something fancy like that. But yeah, there's a couple extra pads in here, so that's nice for whatever that's worth. So it's got all this stuff in red. It's like, you know, don't touch it here or there. Always touch it on the side. So these are, this thermal pads are for areas that obviously get hot, so it's to help dissipate heat off of it. So we're going to do 1 big rectangle and 2 little ones. But yeah, I always got projects planned, so like I said, there might be a new one that just showed up. Might have to take a quick break and go check if it's here. Oh my gosh. There we go. And these will, you get them pretty close, they'll kind of melt on as I need to, but all right. So, I don't know if you can see this. Get off there. Don't need that. All right, so there's a lot of like the Raspberry Pis and things, they have these kind of indented parts built into the actual box. So these are actually gonna, where that circuit board or the buddy board as Prusa calls it, that thermal paste or the thermal pads are gonna actually end up aligned with these. And the reason those indents are in the case is to help take the heat off of this board and transfer it to the case so it can, you know, escape the inner workings of everything. So that's basically what we're gonna do now, is just peel this off. But it's the same with like Raspberry Pis and especially a lot of single board electronics where they're trying not to use a fan or use less fans or less power, or where it's just unnecessary or they want it quiet, they'll do that. So there's that. Let's see. Trying to make sure before I get ahead of myself, it's not like do this or don't do that. Okay. So on this one, I have to line up these ports, which should help guide my thermal pads down to the correct spot. I'm also going to make sure my holes are lined up from the top down here, which they look pretty good. And then you can also see, I'm kind of holding it, but I got all my ports lined up in there, so they're showing through this shroud or whatever you want to call it. I guess it's not a shroud, but a little case. So it looks pretty good. Close enough we can make it work, that is. All right, fully tighten all 5 screws, M3x6. Feel like I pulled those out. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Does anybody see them? Anybody? 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 There they are. I had to do it. Again, try not to rip the corner off the bag. Again, I learned that the hard way, not really for any other reason aside from if you don't use all the screws, which a lot of times you won't, you can still identify what screws they are. Because you start ripping the bags open, it gets slows down your build a lot because you have to come back and, you know, figure out what's what. All right, I'm gonna get all these screws started on this circuit board, and then I'll come back and tighten them down. It's kind of how I do like when I build computers too. Gives you a little bit of freedom to shift the ports around, or you know, something's not quite lining up just right. It gives you a little bit of range of motion, a little bit of freedom. Unlike those pesky Lego stickers, right? Come on. Of course, I got the first one in, no problem. Let's see. One. There might be a couple of additional holes here that are made for grounding or other sensors, so I'm trying to make sure I'm in the correct holes for the board. Might have to manhandle this one a little bit here off camera. We are so close, but so far away here. Let's see. Wanted to use my mouth right there. Use my teeth to hold that wrench, but I refrained. All right, let's see here. Whoops. Sure, that sounded good. Smack the mic with the metal frame. I don't know if I like that. Oh, it feels okay. Felt like it was starting to cross thread a little bit, so I don't want to. There's a little bit of tension. The ports like to push off the board, which is fine, I suppose. There we go. Got it lined up good enough now that I feel like the pads are good. I think we got good contact with our tape and all that stuff. Let's see what else we got. 1, 2, should be 5 screws in this guy. One, 2, 3, 4. So got one more to go. Probably take a break here pretty soon. Just kind of chop the video up and then go check the mail for our next project. But there will be a part 2. Not quite sure when. I don't know, might come back and power through some more today. We'll see. We'll see. It's a good question. Do I think people get used to seeing 3D printed objects in their everyday life? I think so. I think it was weird at first. See, there's some cool companies out there actually that make things beyond, I mean, it's filament, right? But they make like soap. You can 3D print soap. You can do chocolate. You can do fish food. They have like, I mean, that's Time Plast that does that. I actually have a subscription and I get like filament from them. But yeah, there's a lot of really unique things. I mean, aside from like normal materials, I think it's going to become more and more common. It's getting more and more user-friendly. It's more affordable, more obtainable. Starting to see 3D print shops like in the mall. So Amazon's not your only outlet. But yeah, I think it's here to stay for sure. There's some other new technology, you know, that's always going to be out. But as far as people being able to innovate at home and and do all that, I mean, I think it'll be here to stay for sure. Because it's just not going to be the other stuff that's out there that is better. I mean, it's not as cost effective to get the machine to operate it. It's not usually as user friendly. A lot of times there's more, chemicals or protective equipment needed to mess with it, and so, it's just not as practical for a home user. Okay. Now, this little extension board goes just like so. And I bet we use the same screws. Yep. Look at that. I'm good. I knew it. But yeah, I definitely think it's here to stay. It's a good question. I mean, they're just going to get better, faster, cheaper. I mean, I don't know. I guess the market's accepted certain price point for printers. I mean, so they'll probably, I don't know if they'll ever get much cheaper. Probably some cheaper, but they can always add functionality to justify cost as they get competitors. So I think with that said, I think it's here to stay. There's limitations. 3D print your next workshop. Hey, I've done crazier stuff. But yeah, I see what you're saying. I took you kind of being smart there, but you're actually probably serious. You're talking about like the concrete, right? Like doing hempcrete or concrete or whatever through like the big physical, like literally print in concrete. That would be cool. 3D print a bunker. That's what we could do, something unique. They print houses, and I mean, honestly, that stuff's pretty simple. I mean, it's no more complicated than what this is. I mean, that's for sure. You can use these same, aside from the power requirement, you can use the same, parts. Yeah, I know, that would be cool. Put enough conduit in it and stuff for expansion. Yeah, it could be sweet, for sure. Let's see. Holy cow, what's that? Buddy Bucks. Oh yeah, I remember this. Prusa loves to throw zip ties around. I mean, why not, right? Can't really knock a zip tie too much, but I always hate this part, trying to get these in here. It's kind of their zip ties are basically just for cable management. I mean, I don't know what else you use a zip tie for, but they have these little cutout sheet metal parts, and there we go. Gotta feed all these in here. See, a couple more zip ties here. Just digging for a couple things here real quick. All right. We got about two more. Oh, oops. I didn't read the instructions. I've been known to be much more visual, so I will. Prusa spoils you by having really good pictures, but the problem with that is if you don't read, then sometimes it's not all illustrated, let's put it that way. Kind of like I did earlier. Some of these are just always a pain to get started. Yes, I give you needle nose pliers, I could use those. I don't know if that's what they're intended for, but they'll sure help out in this situation. I do like that they give you tools, and it actually feels like it's always like decent tools. It's not like real cheap crap that doesn't fit, you know? All right, I think we got one more here I need to do. Let's see. So the first, trying to figure out this part. I don't quite understand how it is supposed to go in here, but huh. It's got one of the 3D printed parts I'm trying to figure out here. It's this little, they call it a multi-tool, but it goes in this box. Or, oh, I see what it is. I got it. It's just, I guess, help you literally do what I was just already completed. They had it in the picture, and it was like they're feeding it through, so I was kind of confused there. Let's see. Green, okay. Just going to plug in our first little bunch of stuff, which is going to be from, let's see here, to here, little kind of jumper cable. Okay. That guy's going to hang there. Got a couple of grommets. Yeah, I am planning on hopefully building a shop sometime in the near future. So if I do, then yeah, I could maybe consider that for sure. 3D printing a building would be pretty cool. Electronics package, printed parts package. Okay. Always feels like there's so many parts, and then yeah, there are a lot of parts, that's for sure. You save some money buying, buying these kits for obvious reasons, because labor is labor, but I don't know, it's fun. It's fun to figure it out as you go. The hard part is I don't usually end up like, props to the printers, to Prusa in particular, I guess, but don't usually end up having to, repair anything. So it's, I don't know how useful the learning bit is, because, by the time I have to fix something, I don't remember how it goes together anyway. But except that one time Javier plugged the XL up like the first day, then it was still pretty fresh in my head, but rolled you right under the bus, dude. All right, let's see. M3 by 12 and M3 by 6. Once we're done with that, we still have M3 by 6 out. We need two of those. And M3 by 12. Sorry, I gotta talk to myself a little bit because otherwise it won't happen. And you can see all the just different amounts of screws, different types of screws. 3x12. And then there's like, yeah, M3x12, M3x12 RT. Well, most of these screws are Allen. There are some Torx in here, which they hook you up with the tools. Ah, yeah. You're like, I didn't do it. Yeah, it's come a long way. I mean, we used to have to like, bamboo is so nice now, and that's where, actually, that is one thing I'm excited about on this one. This came, it was an add-on, but it came with a camera. So that's kind of exciting because up until now, Prusa used to have to like add on an external camera, which is nice for a maker, you know. You can use a webcam or you can use a Raspberry Pi cam or, you know, all these other cameras, right? Pretty much anything with RMTP service. So Prusa came out with this web-based where you can web and Prusa connect and take that, you generate that code from whatever video camera you have and you can paste it, right? And it just feeds your Prusa dashboard on the website. But it's still like not in the same ecosystem, so there's always, of course, it's the last package. So it's not in the same ecosystem, so you just have to mess around with stuff. It's really nice, you know, like Javier and I work remotely, so being able to like control the printer, see the printer, stop the printer, whatever, and you know, upload different projects is pretty cool. Prusa's always kind of had that barrier, and we found, you know, manual ways around it. And again, you know, being a maker, it's kind of cool to have that flexibility to not be restricted to a certain brand's camera or whatever. But on the flip side of that, it's like the plug and play aspect's nice, especially when you get multiple printers. I mean, it just gets crazy to like, you know, do some of this other stuff. So I'm really excited because this has a camera. I ordered it as an add-on or an upgrade, but it is built for this. Much like, I mean, I'm just going to say it like bamboo. So I'm excited to try that because I honestly just kind of always been not lazy, but like we've done it the hard way before. But as far as like, especially on our old printers with Creality and stuff, but I don't know. I'm just excited to like see if it's a little more user friendly. And maybe something I'll actually use because, like my Prusa, I guess my Prusa XL, I have like a Tapo camera. That's, you know, it's a separate app, it's a separate thing, so it's just another thing to like have to pass a password on with, and you know, all that annoying stuff. So I'm excited to try the camera and see how it works, both for me and then for like Javier, like remotely, or anybody else that, you know, gets on. All right, let's see. So I don't even know what this is. I should talk about it. So this is the Wi-Fi module, so that's cool. My Prusa XL does have a, you know, Wi-Fi, and you can, like I said, I change the Wi-Fi network yesterday. You can actually on the unit itself. You don't have to go. The original Prusa, you have to have like a config file that's on your USB drive. You pull it out of the printer, put it in your computer, open a text editor, change your Wi-Fi information, then have to transfer it back or load it back on the printer manually. Now you can, through the user controls on the actual printer, you can like change the Wi-Fi, but it's a bit like the old cell phones. It's like what, T3, where it's like you have to push like 3 times for, you know, it's like A, B, C. It has those different blocks. So not the most efficient thing, but you know, something. So this hopefully maybe is a little bit different, better, but yeah. So it's an ESP Prusa, I guess it is, but yeah, cool. MK4 Wi-Fi, so it's probably similar to that. Yeah, Prusa's a really good machine for sure. All right, let's see. How does this work? Got it. Wasn't expecting that. Let's see. 2 M6 screws into the side. Yeah, it's not, especially for you. I mean, for me, it's less inconvenient. I mean, it's still not as user friendly as bamboo, but it's a little bit less so because I'm here and I can walk up and change it, you know, like, but remotely, especially all the workarounds we've had, yeah, it's a little more not as fun that way. Let's see, what do I got going on here? Oh, that's an odd way to do that. Okay. All right, all right, all right. We're getting this little Wi-Fi module. It has its own little 3D printed case, so we're just kind of plugging in that bad mammer jammer. Make sure the port's lined up through the thing. There's one screw hole here, so that's where our long screw right here will go. Need to probably put this base on the floor. Keep smacking that threaded part. Excuse me. Throat's getting dry here from chatting away. Okay. And then this is going to feed right into the side of one of these ports we just put in. And how does it go? How does it go? Guess it goes like this. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay. See if I can find. Getting myself buried in my tool here. There we go. Cool. Sweet. So we've actually made pretty good progress on this control board here. It's got our Wi-Fi module on the side. Then, yeah, got our little buddy extension board, our buddy board, and our buddy extension board. So, going pretty good. Let's see, what else? I think I'm going to take a break for a little bit. Either today, later today, or tomorrow, I'll probably come back and try to see if I can power through the rest of this. Feels like there's a lot of parts left still, but we'll get through it. I got stuff scattered out everywhere now in my workspace, so I want to power through it as much as I can and get some more built, but I might do a little more off screen too, just kind of get some more going and then come back. But anyway, thanks for hanging out, and I'm going to try to be doing at least a couple times a week, if not more often, builds, and if there's anything anybody wants us to make, I can either source it, we can design it, do all those things, and then hopefully, you know, put it on like our community website, which will be chaos.cloud. We're gonna have a marketplace on there, so we can do kind of community inspired things and put them on there. And it's fun. I wanted to incorporate like as many technologies as possible. So we can do like 3D printing, we can do resin printers, we can do filament printers, we can do, you know, CNC machines, water jet stuff, really anything under the sun. So that's about